Let's do that one more time because we just started the broadcast. Como está?
Maganda.
Maganda Magapo.
Yeah.
And we are live
from the big island.
From the big island
of Hawaii.
And I'm here in godforsaken Alabama, where all they do is worship football. So today we are going to talk about
my accident.
Yeah, near-death experiences. Now, I had a near-death experience I don't think I told you about, Calvin.
You did tell me. You said your heart got...
Oh, it did? Okay.
Speed up.
Yeah, my heart was in an SVT, and they had to administer this stuff called andazine, and it basically stopped my heart and restarted it. And it was like the closest you get to a heart attack without actually having a heart attack.
Rebooting.
Mm-hmm. When all else fails, reboot, just like your computer systems.
Well, your brain is your computer.
Well, the funny part, well, it wasn't funny, but I mean, I didn't technically die, so I guess I didn't get to that point where you cross over. I just got to the point where I just felt like I was going to die.
Well, it was like hell.
Yeah, that's what it felt like that day. It was like, oh, I can't breathe and I can't feel, you know.
It's kind of like what I went through when I was in the coma.
Let's talk about that. What exactly? So some of our audience that doesn't know that in the previous video we had, you went into what happened. You were 5 years old. A flatbed truck hit you.
Then I flew like to the first stoplight, and then the same truck ran me over.
Oh my God! He hit you twice?
Yeah.
Man. So after he hit you the second time, that pretty much flew you into a coma right there, or were you conscious at that point?
No, I got run over the second time.
But I mean, after you got ran over the second time, were you still awake and conscious, or at that point were you just knocked out?
Well, actually, I was standing and I was walking across the street, and then the truck hit me, and then I flew like to the first stoplight, and then the car kept coming and it ran me over.
Yeah, but I'm saying is after he ran you over that second time, did you remember anything at that point?
No, I was already dead.
You were actually technically dead?
Yeah.
My God. So what was there, like witnesses that came and saw and tried to help out, or?
Well, my friend said the health aide nurse ran and tried to help me, but there was nothing they could do when they seen the truck ran me over.
You're kidding. They were just basically sitting there, and they thought you were already gone at that point.
Yeah. And I figured that scared the hell out of everybody over there back then. Because you gotta understand, our bodies are like that. If we see something in front of us, it will stay with us for a long time.
Yeah, our brain records it like a record player and just keeps playing it over and over.
Yeah.
Did anybody? They called 911, obviously, and some ambulance came and picked you up.
Yeah, but they was trying to jack the truck up to get me out.
Oh my God, you were stuck. You were pinned underneath the vehicle as well.
Yeah, it was over my left arm.
Wow, that is amazing, tragic. You know. So they had to actually jack the vehicle up to get you out from underneath there.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like at that point they still must have thought you were alive. They tried to jack you up. I mean, jack the truck up.
Yeah.
So
And people lied about what really happened because they think that I saved the kid's life, and that's not true.
so somebody said that you were you pushed another kid out of the way to try to save him.
Yeah, but that's not really true.
And you were just walking across the street.
Yeah. You gotta understand, when you're a kid, you act very rascal.
Yeah.
That's why when people tell other people that I saved the kid's life, I get real pissed off because it's not true.
You weren't trying to do that. It was just that you happened to be in the way of the truck.
I don't know, because I was just a kid back then.
Yeah. Now, so you after the truck came, they took you to the hospital. Is that kind of what happened there?
No, I got medevac.
So they took you by helicopter to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then obviously they probably performed some sort of surgeries.
I don't know, because I was all broken up. My body was all broken. I had lots of broken bones.
Okay. Now you lost consciousness after the hit with the truck, and at that point, you said that you saw a light. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
So when exactly do you remember being a conscious again? Was that at the hospital, or at that point you just don't remember anything?
At that point, I don't remember anything.
Okay, so let's get into the details. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the experience that you had while you were unconscious, and which would be basically the time period when they had medevaced you from the scene to the hospital. At that point, you weren't conscious, and several days thereafter you weren't conscious because you were in a coma.
Yeah.
So let's get into the details about what you saw during the time that you were technically dead.
Well, I saw a bright light, and I heard a voice that said, "It's not your time. You have to live. You have to be my voice for the people to hear it, to understand that life is fragile."
So he was. Now, do you remember when you saw? do you remember that experience in heavy detail? Because did it feel like it was a long time that you were kind of in the light, or like do you remember the time, like how much time passed when
It
you
was
were in that?
it was like this,
Like what?
a snap.
Oh, it was an instant. The feeling was like you were there only an instant.
Yeah,
But oh, okay. So you had been there just for an instant and saw the light, and then you heard the voice of God.
yeah.
And
Well,
did you see
what?
anything?
Just a shadow.
You saw a shadow in the light, basically.
Yeah.
And when you were looking, what do you remember it being like? Did you feel like you were floating? Did you feel like you were walking on ground? Did you feel like any kind of
Well, I felt like I was light.
light?
You know, the light, bright light.
Oh, you felt that you were light too.
Yeah.
So you don't. It was like you were meeting a shadowy figure, but you don't. Was it the figure of a human being, or the look of like legs, arms, and all that?
No, it was like it's hard to explain because when you see a light that is shapeless, you know it to be a shadow, but you can't explain it.
So it was a shadow, but it didn't necessarily represent a human form.
Yeah.
Now, and then that light, the shadow within the light, said it's not your time. He wanted you to go back and be his voice to the world.
Yeah. And I've been doing that for a long time. And because I've been doing it for a long time, I'm tired of it.
Well, you're unfortunately that voice of God told you to do that, and you have to continue.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're tired of people not listening. You're tired of being
No,
the voice and crying in the wilderness.
no,
Prepare you. Is that is
no,
that?
no. It's I'm tired of people always giving me crap that I don't deserve, and they always speaking lies about me.
Well, who exactly would be doing that?
Punks.
Punks.
Yeah.
Well, let's stay back on this near death experience now. When you got back, when exactly do you remember becoming conscious again? Was that in the hospital?
After I came out of the hospital.
So you were still in a coma when you were home?
No, I was in a wheelchair.
So at what point do you remember coming out of the coma?
When my grandfather said, "It's time to wake up now. It's
Oh,
time to
really?
wake up." Yeah.
Really? So was your grandfather there at your bedside?
Yeah. Because he was scared for me.
Oh, that's wild. And he said it's time to wake up, and then there you were. You woke up.
Yeah. You gotta understand, when you're a kid, you accept anything.
Except me. What do you mean? I'm not
Like,
explaining.
if you're a kid, you don't understand anything. So you would accept any kind of help.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of like hearing your grandfather's voice
Yeah.
just made you feel comforted and brought you out.
Yeah.
But during that time, it was like an instant that you were with God, and then
Yeah.
you came back out of that instantly. So the time period felt like it was short while you were in the coma, but when you woke up, you'd already been in a coma for how many days?
I cannot say because a minute maybe a thousand years to God.
Yeah, but I was just kind of curious how many days were you in a coma, in our realm?
Oh, 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow. So 6 to 8 weeks, you're almost a month and a half. You were in a coma, totally unconscious, but you had this experience with God and it felt like an instant, and then you came back and woke up. And it just felt short, like a short period of time.
Yeah.
That's wild.
What?
It's amazing how the time differentiation and God's, when you've crossed over and you're, with God versus what goes on here.
Because God sees everything. He made us.
Yeah. He sees everything and he made us, and he can cross over the time. The time can be instantaneous. He can stop time, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. It's just a confirmation of what we already know, but it's just a confirmation to hear it from you. So when you got this message from God and you came back, and you're only, what, 6 years old at the time?
Yeah.
So did you instantly think, oh, I got to start being a voice for God at 6 years old, or did you wait and finish up school? And I imagine you had to go.
No. I was in a wheelchair. I was scared. I wanted to take my own life because I wanted to walk so badly. I wanted to get out of the wheelchair.
That's understandable. And you felt like you were stuck in this wheelchair. Here you were doing really great before that. And then after this thing happens, all of a sudden you couldn't feel your legs.
No, I was just a kid and I was paralyzed. And you see, I made up my mind to get out of the wheelchair and I got out.
Awesome. That's just a testimony to how much the healing power of God combined with your determination probably to rehab brought you out of the wheelchair.
And yet, people are afraid of what I went through because they're afraid of what they can achieve if something bad happens to them.
They worry that they can't overcome the obstacles.
Yeah.
And it seems like that you, having overcome the obstacles, even felt though you went through kind of years of depression, still fighting the urges to want to kill yourself, basically.
No, I felt like that because people were teasing me and picking on me, and I just wanted to be like everybody else.
Yeah. Which is cruel because kids can be cruel. So can adults.
You know what happened? What brought me out of that?
What happened?
The fact that in my dream, I saw that everybody was at my funeral crying.
Really? So wait a minute. You had the vision of God, but then you also had another dream after that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had this dream of your funeral. Now this was while you were unconscious, right?
No, this was after I thought of taking my own life.
Oh wait, okay. So you actually came out of a coma at that point. You were actually doing well, or not doing well, but you were working on you're trying to get back to some semblance of normalcy, and then you felt like you wanted to commit suicide because people were not treating you normal.
Yeah.
And then you just had this dream, and it was a funeral.
Yeah. And when I thought of how much pain I would leave my mom and my dad, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's pretty painful to imagine.
Yeah.
So you had the dream, and you were at your own funeral.
Yeah.
And God just basically gave you this dream and said, do you really want to cause this much pain for your family? Kind of giving you that choice of, do you really want to do that?
Yeah.
And you're like, nope.
No, I had to make a choice. Every day is built on choices. Every day brings new choices to everybody.
Yes, exactly. What's the choices they have? It's like
either to live or to live with God or live without Him.
Yep. So even the drug dealer out there, the people that are doing harm to others, they're going to have to live with their decisions, or they can turn from their sins and do the right thing.
Yes.
And they have that choice every day. They can make that choice. They have the capability. They have free will. They can choose not to do the things that they think they want to do, which is bad.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what you're here for. You're voicing God's. You're the voice for God, and I feel like I'm here to be a blessing in terms of trying to help get your voice out there. Sounds like you've already been doing it for quite a long time, though. Did you start teaching like in high school or junior high, or trying to win people for Christ?
I started when I was in first grade.
Wow. So you were already at that point, because of your near-death experience and meeting God, you knew that, hey, it's time. I've got to start working for God.
Yes. And out of 7 kindergarten kids, only one of them came and said, hey, I remember you. You helped me understand that life is fragile and you never lose good friends. So I helped her. I planted that seed of love in her heart.
Oh, okay. So you brought people to God. You brought people to Christ.
Yeah. And yet, I feel like I'm fighting an unwinning battle.
Why is that? You feel like you're not getting success, or you feel the enemy just keeps on getting more success?
Yeah, because he keeps throwing shit at me that I cannot seem to bear, like Aaron.
Well, you got to remember when you're over the target, that's when the enemy starts throwing you shit, because that means you're close to, he's more afraid of you because you're over the target. You're hitting, that's when you start getting the flack.
Oh, so he's using Aaron as a wolf.
Well, I don't specifically know about, your situation there with Aaron, but I'm just saying, in general terms, if you're a Christian, as soon as things start getting bad for you, it's usually after you've had a period of prayer, you came close to God, you've had a vision, you know what you want to do, and you're trying to work for God. Well, then the enemy tries to throw darts in your way to make you stumble. to keep you from succeeding.
Do you know what is discipleship? Being a disciple is not easy. I was in discipleship training, and my teacher told me you gotta know about God's deity.
God's deity?
Yeah. God's deity is basically love.
That's true. He's a loving God. He gave us all this creation.
And free will is love. Some people cannot see that.
Explain that.
Because if you say to a child that this is the way it's going to be, that kid's going to rebel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just because you're saying that this is the way it's got to be.
Yeah.
So you give him the choice, is what you're saying, because you love him.
Yeah.
And hope he does the right choice.
Yes.
I see what your point. That's fascinating. You've got a good handle on what's going on there, Calvin. You got a great your understanding of what's happening in the world.
Yeah, that's why when I tell Aaron the truth, when I tell Sean the truth, he gets pissed off because he doesn't want to hear it.
Well, I think that if our audience really doesn't know who you're talking about, but the thing is that you're speaking in general terms of someone who doesn't want to hear their sin and make a change. That isn't that kind of what you're talking about, describing?
Yeah. But the change gotta come from you. Because if you're not the change, you're never gonna see it in this lifetime.
It's got to come within the heart, just like Jesus said. What comes out of the heart defileth a man.
Yeah.
Or what comes out of the mouth, and then what the thoughts of the heart are what defileth a man as well. I think it's something to that effect, right?
Yes. That's why when I think about it, I get real pissed off.
Well, it's because God gave you this mission to be a voice for God, and you feel that you're trying to do it and you're getting backlash. But you got to remember, this is anybody who does anything for God is going to get backlash. It's just the way it goes, you know? I mean, look at all the disciples, a number of them, you know, prison, stonings. It's like we have.
Can you wait a minute? I gotta open the door.
Okay, yeah, we can. I'll continue with this broadcast, and we'll just wait for Calvin here. He just needs to go open the door. But I just wanted to let you guys know in the audience that anytime you feel the need for prayer, feel free to reach out to our ministry and get in touch with us if you need prayer. If you need any kind of the Word of God, we're here. We stand with our brothers and sisters in Christ. And here's Calvin, who's been through so much, and he's come out at the other end. Now, Calvin, do you feel like you're winning the battle? I mean, you can walk now, right? I mean, you've got that was one of the major things you wanted to do was walk, and you're walking, right?
Yes.
So there you go. So I mean, you know, you're winning the battle. You know, every day, yeah, it's not easy, but you're doing it. You're getting out there. We're streaming you right now live, and there's going to be people all over the world that are going to hear this talking about your near-death experience. and how it affected you.
But let me tell you something. It's not me, it's them. If they can't see their own losses, they'll never change.
It's got to come from within.
Yeah.
And I think, Jesus talks a lot about that.
At times, I feel like God has me. He has my back. Jesus,
Absolutely.
that's why when people give me smack, I just tell them, look, just have a nice day. And I smile at them and they get real pissed off.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Kill them with kindness. That's what they say. People can't handle it when you're in a good mood.
Then when they get pissed off at me, I said, look, I don't have time for this. And I walk away. And when they say, like, I'm mad at you, and then I walk up to their face and I say, you're gonna do something. Let's do it then. I want to do it. Do it in front of everybody so everybody can see you have nothing to prove. And when they look at me like I'm stupid and like they're embarrassed, I just act like, look, you're wasting my time.
Yep. You got love of God in you, and that's what counts. That's the thing that overcomes everything.
At times, I worry about you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
For what? Why are you worrying about me?
Because sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of wicked people in Alabama.
I have one here. I'll show you. Hang on a sec. Talk wicked people. Hang on a sec. There's a guy who left a voicemail on my phone, and he basically said, I was listening to the voice. I was like, "What is this?" And all of a sudden, I heard this: "The devil's gonna get you." I'm like, "What?
That's wickedness.
Isn't
Because,
that?"
yeah, because most people that say that, they don't know the truth. Because when you have God, His love covers you.
Exactly. Like I'm not even I'm not even scared at all when I heard this on my voicemail. But I was like thinking to myself, now this guy is being used of the devil himself. I mean, randomly calling people, leaving some voicemail on my phone, the devil's gonna get you.
Let me
Hang
tell
on,
you.
I'm trying to find it right now. If I can find it. Hang on. Hey, don't be getting in my coffee, dog. Hang on a sec here. Here it is. Oh, here it is. Creepy. Let's see if I can play it.
The devil's gonna get you.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's do that one more time. It's just too weird. This guy left a voice. I can't believe that, you got too much time on your hands or something.
The devil's gonna get you.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. People say that because they don't have the royal pardon from Jesus.
Exactly.
If you're pardoned, you wouldn't have that kind of mentality of saying, the devil's gonna get you.
Exactly.
Because everybody's thinking like they wanna take you down with them. They wanna drag you down with them.
Yeah, exactly. That's the mentality. It's like the devil's going to get them, and they want to take you down with them. We actually took that voicemail and then created a bunch of similar ringtones.
Let me tell you something, okay?
Yeah.
Jesus wouldn't say that to you.
No.
He would tell you, he would judge you in a loving manner.
He would say, "Well, the devil might get you, but you have a choice in the matter." Hang on one sec. I'll play the one we revised for the voicemail, or for my. We did a couple of them with a friend of mine. The devil gonna get you. From out here in Alabama.
Let me tell you something, okay? Once you have Jesus, he's not gonna stay there with you because he's afraid of Jesus. And besides, if you tell the devil to flee, he will flee because you're a part of God and he hates God.
Yes, he does. He doesn't like anything to do with goodness, kindness, gentleness, all the fruits of the Spirit. He's not part of that.
So you should go to every corner in your room and tell the devil to leave.
Yes, I've actually, they call that anointing the home. And I've actually done that when I moved in the house here. You take olive oil and you anoint the olive oil through your prayer. And then you take that and cast out any kind of entities or demons that might exist within your house. And so therefore, that's what we've done here at this house. Do you do that too at your house there, Calvin?
No, because I know God is already with me and he will protect me.
Yeah. So you don't need to.
Yeah.
Well, I did it when the house was new. They always say, if you got a new house, because you don't know what's been there or what happened before. So you just try to cleanse the atmosphere.
I did that in my old house because my house was over an old graveyard.
Oh. So your house was in front of or on top of a graveyard?
In the back of a graveyard because I was near the baseball park.
Wow. So you definitely had to, anoint that and cast out any kind of spirits that might be hanging around the graveyard.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any kind of paranormal activity happen in any kind of place that you lived at?
No, because God was strong in my family because of my accident.
And I'll let you know that it's wild as we've had paranormal activity in this house that I'm at right now.
Because your faith is not strong.
Oh, it's strong, but I think there is a spirit. It was upstairs in my. I had a roommate who lived upstairs, and she reported to me that her faith wasn't strong, so that could be the problem. But she reported to me that in her room, she was witnessing at one time. She had some things on a bookshelf, and they would just suddenly move for no reason. And then she said that after that, that's what she would leave her door open because she was afraid that, to close her door. But she had her own problems, and she was an alcoholic, and she had a lot of issues. So I'm guessing, the evil spirits maybe just came with her. Maybe they're following her around.
Her demons are the alcohol. The alcohol makes you crazy.
Yes, I think there was something to do with that. It seemed that there was a demonic entity or something that was just following her. Maybe how we're talking past or talking near-death experiences. She's been in a couple. Also, I think there's a thing called family curses, that pass down from generation to generation, and maybe perhaps she had something like that.
I know what you're talking about completely, because my grandfather passed away before I was even born, but I can feel him, because Japanese people hate Koreans, and they're greedy. That's why, and my stepfather's Japanese, and I figure my grandfather is mad that my stepfather's Japanese.
So your grandfather was Korean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, is that the same grandfather that woke you up from the coma?
No, he died when I was young, when I was then even born.
Oh, okay. So you think there was a family curse from him, and he cursed your family because of the Japanese?
No, I think my dead grandfather is trying to protect us, trying to warn off evil spirits.
Oh, okay. So that's why you're not concerned about anointing the house. You feel that the family line of spirits are already protecting you.
Yeah.
That's probably a good assumption, being that, our spirits continue. Just what we've proven in this broadcast. Our spirits live on, and they go to God, and they do God's work.
But I don't know if my grandfather went to God, because he wasn't a Christian.
The Korean?
Yeah.
Well, did he have any kind of knowledge about Christ, or was he Buddhist or something, or
Buddhist?
He was Buddhist. Yeah, imagine there. That's kind of hard for me to I married a Buddhist, as you know, and I wasn't sure. I tried to introduce her to Christ, but
she didn't like it.
They just believe what they. We kind of agreed to disagree. That's how we stayed together, and just didn't really talk about it. But it's just like Buddhists believe, they don't believe they go to God, right? They believe they go.
No, they believe that they're in the pit and they're looking at the Buddha that's way above them. And they're praying for their souls. But that's not true.
So, but do they believe that they go to heaven, or they don't believe they go to heaven or hell? They believe in multi levels of different dimensions and different.
No, they believe in reincarnation.
So they do believe they reincarnate here on Earth.
Yeah.
And because you're experienced, God, that obviously that's baloney.
Yeah.
Well, I don't take now I'm kind of a different Christian. I do believe in multiple life lifetimes. Do you believe in that?
No, I believe that after we come alive for the second time, we won't experience the second death.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, but what I'm saying is, I believe that if, like, let's say God had a second purpose for you to come back into the world as another human to do more work for Him, that He might let you, as a spirit, come back into a body to have another lifetime to work on whatever project He's got for you. I'm not saying that we're coming back to pay sins or nothing. I'm just saying that we come back to do the will of God, and perhaps He has like a second. Because I've actually had visions when I was in California. I had some visions about a previous life, and it was so clear. And I was like, why am I having these visions of a previous? Because in that life, I was, we were like a tribe of, and there was naked. Everybody was naked. They didn't have clothes, and it's like a tribal thing. And we were running in through a field, and there was these giant green monsters with these huge fangs who ate people, and they were on the earth, and we were trying to avoid these monsters, and so we were ducking down in the field behind trees and whatnot. And then these giant monsters, you got to be really quiet. You can't talk, you can't see, or you can't talk, you can't make any noises because they have super hearing. And so they could basically detect where you were instantly, and then they would come and eat you. And in the dream, I was with a naked woman, and I remember it being kind of like an Asian woman with long black hair. And this monster came, and then I offered myself as a sacrifice to be eaten by the monster to protect her. And that was the last time, and it was like I remember dying in this vision to keep her alive, because the monster would have ate her if I didn't die.
That's a demon that's giving you that vision, because God would never harm you or forsake you.
What I'm saying is that that monster, there literally was on the earth back in the old times, there was giants. There was what they called the Nephilim. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, but that was in Noah's time.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that perhaps our spirits were on the earth in a different body at that time. Then we were fighting these battles with the giants, and we won, obviously, with King David. But then later on, as our spirits, come back into the world, and we do other projects, God lets us have a glimpse and visions of what it was that we did before.
God gave Noah a vision, and he told Noah to build the boat. It had only 2 sets of animals.
Yeah, male and female.
Yeah, he only had 2 dogs, and you see, when they had babies, it came to be like there are different kinds of breeds, but there are only 2 sets of animals. And dogs were different breeds, but think about it, they're just dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't believe that the dream you're having is a message from God. I believe that it's a message from the enemy trying to frustrate you and get you off of track.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I'm of the notion that we get glimpses of. See, I'm one of the few Christians who does believe that we come back, that we have multiple lifetimes if God chooses it, because God can do whatever He wants. He created the whole universe. What's to say He can't make us come back into the world into another body if we need to. I mean, He has ultimate authority over all the spirits.
You haven't read the Bible, have you?
Oh, I mean, I've read it.
From cover to cover?
Oh, I mean, I've read a lot of it. I can't say I've read it cover to cover, but I've read, quite a bit. I mean, I don't believe in reincarnation into pigs, giraffes, all that stuff. What I'm talking about is just our spirits go to God after death. And then those spirits, if He chooses, just like in your case, he said, okay, I'm not done with you. You need to go back into the world. And so He brought you back into the world.
I didn't know about it.
See, what happened, another instance I can kind of confirm this is my stepfather. His name was Zane, and he had a vision too, years and years prior to him meeting my mom, before he ever got part of our life or whatever. But he told us about how he had a vision, and because he went to have you ever heard about, psychiatrists? They use a thing called hypnotizing.
Yeah.
So he had went to a psychiatrist and been hypnotized because he, had these early childhood traumas. And so the hypnotist was trying to help him process these early childhood traumas as part of his therapy. But it ended up happening that during the course of this therapy, he told while he was in the hypnotized state, he told the therapist how he had been a Roman soldier in a prior lifetime, and he had fought in the Roman wars back in the prior lifetime. So he had actually had this vision or experience, and it was confirmed by the psychiatrist who recorded the hypnotic session. Now, I know that demons can possess people, and they could leave visions and so forth too. And I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, because I know that, demon possession is a real thing. But in my case, I don't feel I was demon possessed when I had that vision. I feel it was just a vision that I had when I was, sleeping. In his case, he actually had while he was hypnotized, he was able to see this. I just tend to happen to believe, I'm one of the Christians that believes a lot more in, what do they call that? Paranormal stuff. Like I kind of understand a little bit more about it than most. Like if I went to my pastor and talked to him and said, well, here's what I believe, obviously he won't believe what I believe.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
There's two types of people: sinners and people that love God. The sinners, they don't necessarily care to follow God's love because they're out for themselves. And yet, the people that follow God are more interested about their salvation and their relationship with God. So it sounds like to me like the people that have that kind of vision, they don't want to believe what God is saying. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. A lot of Christians, you know, it's like like if you go back into the Old Testament, you'll find Christians who had visions all the time. They were called prophets.
But prophets are sometimes wrong.
True. They're not always right. That's
So
where you got to have discernment.
No, you gotta have understanding between you and God.
Yeah.
Because if you understand that you're a sinner, then you'll accept Him more.
And that's getting back to what your original mission was to bring to be the voice of God and to tell people, hey, you're a sinner. You have a choice in this life to stop your sin. And you have free will, and God gave you that free will, and you can choose to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But this has been a fascinating discussion. We're talking near-death experiences. We're talking multiple lifetimes. We're talking stuff that most Christians don't like to talk about because they're afraid of it. Just like when you got hit by the truck, they're afraid of it. But in real life, you can't be afraid of it. You got to talk about it. You got to work through it. You got to communicate through it. And that's what we're doing here. That's what we like to do on Walk of Faith. We talk about uncomfortable subjects on this channel. That's what I like to do. Is I like to bring the audience a little bit more cutting edge talk.
I'm not uncomfortable with talking about it because I want people to know the real me.
Amen. Calvin, it's been a great talk. And I think we go ahead and cut off the discussion now and just kind of like let the audience absorb everything that we talked about today, because it's been a lot. It's been great, fascinating discussion.
I want to leave you with this discussion. This thought.
Yeah.
The same thing I said to Mei-Ling. You never know what you have until you lose it.
All right.
Because it's true. You don't know what you have until you lose your abilities.
And keep that for the audience out there. If you're watching this video, just remember, you never know what you have until you've lost it. So appreciate what you have in life and give thanks for what you have in life.
Yes.
All right, Calvin. Well, I'll talk to you later. Been a great, fascinating discussion, and we'll sign off now. And I'll see you later, Calvin.
Yeah.
All right.
Catch you later, dog.
Okay. God bless.
Ahoy ho. Malam.